love it. I love it. I love it. Look at this. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Hey, I'm not surprised.
Hey, my homies, what's poppin', man? UFC London, man, you know I'm excited to break this one down. Now guys, just before we get into the breakdown, I've been in this yo-yo consistency, right? Last week I won. I was scheduled to win that card. According to that yo-yo consistency, I'm supposed to lose this card. But man, this is like my 150th UFC breakdown and it's a London card. So yeah, I'm kind of feeling lucky to break the yo-yo consistency, put 2 wins together. Alright, be sure to send the like button to Shadow City. Let's get into breaking this one down. Let's go. Alright guys, you got a matchup between Jai Herbert taking on Ilia Topuria. Now let's just be honest, man. This one's pretty much a mismatch. You know what I'm saying? And someone left a comment last video and they was like, hey, how many times did he want to say, do you know what I'm saying? I've already said it. I've already said it on this breakdown. But yeah, I kind of think this one's like a mismatch. Obviously, Jai Herbert has some good boxing, you know. He'll smack you with the jab, smack you with the 1-2. You know, if this one just stayed striking and Jai Herbert could just use the boxing, then maybe he can beat Ilia Topuria, but that's not really going to happen. You know, this is mixed martial arts. We can grapple, we can go to the mat. And that's probably what's going to happen here. You know, Ilia Topuria is well aware that Jai Herbert's taller, he's longer, and this guy's a boxer. You know, on the feet, it's a good matchup because Jai Herbert, like I said, is taller and longer. He's going to pop the jab. Now, if Ilia Topuria wants to have success with the striking, he's got to get on the inside. You know, get past that reach of Jai Herbert, look to rip to the body, look to rip to the skull, try to find that knockout. But if you put a gun to my head and say, how is this one really going to play out? I think there's a little bit of kickboxing to start the fight, and then Ilia Topuria takes the fight to the mat. You know, once this matchup goes to the mat, that's where the real mismatch comes into play. You know, Ilia Topuria is a phenomenal wrestler. He's a really good jiu-jitsu player. So yeah, that's going to be my first prediction. I'm going to have to side with Ilia Topuria, purely because if he takes the fight to the mat, that's where it's a wrap. You know what I'm saying? Alright, moving into a matchup between Nathaniel Wood taking on Vince Morales. Man, this is a decent matchup, to be honest. You know, when you're looking at the boxing of Nathaniel Wood, it's good. But then you look at the boxing of Vince Morales, you realize it's good. You know, same thing with the grappling. You look at the grappling of Nathaniel Wood, you like it. You look at the grappling, the wrestling of Vince Morales, you also like it. So yeah, man, you've got 2 decent UFC fighters going toe to toe. The real difference, I just think Nathaniel Wood can do anything Vince can do. You know, I said it last week on the Miranda Maverick and Sabina Mazo matchup. It's a good fight, but anything Sabina can do, Miranda Maverick can do it better. I kind of think that's the same situation here, you know. Vince Morales can do it all, you know. Good boxer, good cardio, good wrestling, the jiu-jitsu's good, but everything he can do, Nathaniel can do it better. You look at Vince Morales in his last matchup against Louis Smolka, you know. He was an underdog in this matchup and he completely dusted Smolka. Complete dusteration. You know, Smolka was in the clinch, landing knees, and Vince was like, you know what? Let me just send this overhand right to your ear. Let me just... And it was nice, you know, it was a nice knockout, but I don't think Nathaniel Wood's going to make those type of mistakes. The way I see this one playing out is just, you know, Vince Morales is trying to kickbox, Nathaniel Wood's just a bit quicker. Vince Morales might try to wrestle, but I don't think he can get Nathaniel Wood to the mat. So yeah, guys, I think the ultimate story in this matchup is going to be Vince Morales is a good fighter. He can do everything well. But when you've got an opponent that can also match you, maybe go past what you can do, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to take Nathaniel Wood. Now, looking at the betting line, you've got Nathaniel Wood minus 250 up to minus 300. Nathaniel Wood getting some mad respect from the bookie. Now, if you do want to play Vince Morales as that underdog, obviously at plus 200, you don't got to parlay that. You know, you just hit that straight up. And again, if you like it, you don't have to go big. It's plus 200. But yeah, guys, my prediction, I'm going to side with Nathaniel Wood on this one. Alright, we got a matchup between Elise Reed taking on Cory McKenna. Man, Cory McKenna's octagon name is Poppins. And most of the time I start my breakdown by saying, hey, my homies, what's poppin'? And someone one time put a comment in the comment section. They actually put this. They went, what's poppin', Mary Poppins? Yeah, it got me that one. I won't lie, it got me. Now, guys, Cory McKenna did train at the gym that I train at, which is BKK Fighters. The same gym as Arnold Allen. She's not training there anymore, you know. She's at Team Alpha Male, which obviously is a good move. You know, you come up with one gym and then you might want to change it up, get more looks. And that's exactly what Cory McKenna's done. You know, she's training with all the big boys now over at Team Alpha Male. If I had to give you like an example of what Cory McKenna was as a fighter prior to going to Team Alpha Male, I would say this girl's a wrestler. You know, her wrestling is really good. And I'm sure that Team Alpha Male has even evolved her game with the striking. You know, the wrestling can only get better. The striking can only get better. She's 22 years old. Now, guys, on the flip side, when you look at Elise Reed, she got completely dusted, you know, complete dusteration in the UFC debut. You know, Sijara Eubanks was always going to do that to Elise Reed. She was always going to do that. But if you go back and watch the fight, guys, if you just go back and watch it, man, Elise Reed off her back, it's no bueno. It's really no bueno. And if you guys said to me, well, you know, it's Sijara Eubanks, it's going to look like that, you know, I'd say, why is Elise Reed trying to punch Sijara Eubanks the moment she gets taken down? You know, Sijara Eubanks gets that takedown, gets into half guard, and Elise Reed's like, well, let me just slap you to the head. That's not really what you should be doing the moment you get taken down. You know, try to get back to full guard. But yeah, Elise Reed couldn't progress her position on the mat, which ultimately means Sijara Eubanks was going to progress her position on the mat, which means the matchup ended up finishing like this. So yeah, trying to figure out how this matchup is going to play out. I just think Cory McKenna's going to ragdoll her. She's going to beat her in the wrestling. She's going to beat her up against the fence. Now guys, Sijara Eubanks is a difficult matchup. You know, she's got good wrestling, good BJJ. But when you're looking at Cory McKenna, who's only 22 years old, but still dedicated many years at this point, I think it's going to look like what Sijara Eubanks done to her. You know, on paper it says this one should be quite close. This one's more fair than the UFC debut Elise Reed had. But I don't think it's going to look like that. I think Cory McKenna's going to dust her. So yeah, guys, that's going to be my prediction on this one. Very confident that Elise Reed is going to get dusted. Now, looking at the betting line on this one, you've got Cory McKenna minus 250. So even the bookies are like, you know what, Elise Reed plus 200. You can have that. But yeah, I'm not going to take that. Cory McKenna minus 250. Put that in a 2-fight parlay. It will cash. Alright guys, moving into a matchup between Grundy taking on Makwan Amirkhani. Now guys, last week we done a 10-second silence for Marlon Moraes. And by the way, again man, I pray for Marlon because he got dusted round one. It was bad. Now guys, we're going to do a 10-second silence for Makwan Amirkhani, and I'm going to show you why we're doing that. Complete dusteration. You know, the knee was bad, but the 2 follow-up punches, even worse. Now guys, what you've got with this matchup ultimately is wrestling versus wrestling. Makwan Amirkhani is a wrestler. As you can see, he tried to wrestle Lerone Murphy, and on the entry got sent to Shadow City. You know, if I had to pick who's the better wrestler between Grundy and Makwan Amirkhani, maybe I'd say Makwan. But if I had to pick who's got better cardio between Grundy and Makwan, all day I'm going Grundy. It's a good matchup, man, because you've got 2 wrestlers. You know what I'm saying? It's a wrestling matchup. Yeah, my prediction on this fight, guys, I'm going to side with Grundy purely because I think he's got better cardio. I think he can take a shot better. I think he's going to just, you know, basically say to Makwan, look, you can wrestle, I can wrestle. If you try to wrestle me, I'm going to get back to the feet. If you slow down, maybe I'll try to take you to the mat and show my wrestling. Yeah, I'm going to side with Grundy on this one, guys. I think Makwan's career in the UFC arguably coming to an end. I think you can thank Lerone Murphy for that. You know what I'm saying? It's a bad thing that happened. Alright guys, moving into a matchup between Mokaev taking on Cody Durden. Guys, to be honest, I don't know too much about Muhammad, but I just done a little bit of research and it appears that this guy might be a future champion. I'm already gonna say it. And obviously, you know, a little bit premature, you know, haven't even made the UFC debut, but I'm already gonna say it. Now, Muhammad Mokaev is a Russian who came to the UK at 12 years old. So as you can imagine, you know, 12 years in Russia, 12 years in Dagestan, I believe. Hey, best believe this guy can wrestle. This guy can wrestle. The opponent on the flip side, Cody Durden, is also a wrestler. So you're giving Muhammad Mokaev exactly what he wants in his UFC debut. Now guys, just going back and watching Cody Durden wrestle, he done well against Chris Gutierrez, kinda slowed down. I took him against Ilia, and to be honest man, I was sweating this matchup because again, Cody Durden completely slows down. His gas tank doesn't look too good. Guys, a lot of you must have seen this, but I don't know how many of you missed it, but after Cody Durden beat Ilia, he got on the mic and he said some stuff, you know. He said, I don't want to repeat it, but it's a bad thing that he said. I kind of like that Cody Durden's being sent to the UK. Yeah, he's being sent to the UK and Muhammad Mokaev's going to dust him and he's going to send him home, you know what I'm saying? My prediction is going to be the prospect Muhammad Mokaev. He's got the wrestling, the striking's obviously been worked on, and the matchup is really favourable. You know, you get given a wrestler in Cody Durden who slows down. I'm going to say that not only does Muhammad Mokaev win this matchup, I think he's going to stop Cody Durden. Now looking at the betting lines on this one, you've got Muhammad over -300. So even the bookies know, you know, you've got two wrestlers. Who's the better wrestler? I'm going to say Muhammad Mokaev. You know, would it be smart for Cody Durden to maybe keep the fight striking, try to knock out Muhammad? Maybe, but at the same time, Cody Durden's not a striker. He's a wrestler. So the wrestler's probably going to try to stick to what he's good at. And when he tries to stick to that wrestling, you know, you've got a really good wrestler here in Muhammad Mokaev, the Punisher. So yeah, man, that's got to be my prediction. No way I'm taking Cody Durden in this matchup. Alright guys, we got a matchup between Molly McCann taking on Luana Carolina. It's Meatball Molly McCann, let's go. Now how does this one play out? You know, Molly McCann, Luana Carolina. Luana is a Muay Thai fighter. You know, she's bigger, she's longer than Molly McCann, so she's gonna fire the kicks. On the flip side, you've got Molly McCann who, you know, she's a little meatball. You know what I'm saying? You know, what is a meatball in the fighting world? Maybe it's like a pit bull, but a female version. You know, this is meatball. So yeah, that's really what Molly McCann's going to do in this matchup. She's going to be a little meatball, a little pit bull. If Luana Carolina can keep the distance, keep those kicks coming, then she's going to win the fight. But Molly McCann's going to look to get on the inside, look to land big shots, look to steal the round from Luana Carolina. And there's also the possibility that Molly McCann might take this fight to the mat. You know, gun to your head, you don't really want a gun to your head with this matchup, obviously. But if I had a gun to my head, best believe I'm taking Molly McCann. I'm taking the meatball in this one. I don't think it's going to be domination or anything really impressive from Molly McCann, but I think she's a better puncher than Luana Carolina. So yeah guys, like I said, if she can get past the kicks of Luana Carolina, she's probably going to land some big shots, maybe steal those rounds. Now looking at the betting line, you've got, yeah, pretty much a pick'em. Molly McCann -120, -110. It's understandable. If Molly McCann's going to be kept at range, she's going to lose the fight. If Molly McCann can get a bit of grappling going, look to dirty box, then she's going to probably win this matchup. It's a good one. I'm taking Molly McCann. Alright, moving into a matchup between Jack Shaw taking on Timur Valiev. Man, this is a really sick matchup. It's one of those ones you got to spark the blunt. You know what I'm saying? Alright, so starting with Timur Valiev. This guy's really decent. You know, apart from the UFC debut, where he got knocked out by Trevin Jones. Apart from that, he's been looking good. And even all the hardcore UFC fans that can remember back to that UFC debut, he was doing good work. You know, he was doing good work until he got knocked out. But that happens, you know, you get inside the octagon, you're fighting, that does happen. Now on the flip side, Jack Shaw, this guy's looked good. He's looked real good. When you think about Jack Shaw as a mixed martial artist, you kind of think about the grappling, jiu-jitsu. You know, if Jack Shaw can take your back, you know, it's a bad time. Now, I'm not saying that Timur Valiev can't wrestle, can't grapple, because he's a Russian. Every single Russian can grapple. Even if they, you know, try to strike, they're probably a grappler still. Timur Valiev can grapple, but Jack Shaw is so good with his jiu-jitsu. If he takes the back one time, like I say, that can be a wrap. Now, the matchup's good, man, because when you think of the striking, you know, both guys really decent grapplers, but when you think of the striking, again, it's a good one. Timur Valiev was showing a lot of techniques against Trevin Jones. He showed some nice techniques against Raoni Barcelos. You know, Timur Valiev's a good fighter, but on the flip side, Jack Shaw is also doing nice work. You know, maybe not showing as many techniques as Timur, but he's fundamentally good. For example, Timur Valiev might show you multiple techniques, but Jack Shaw's just going to smack you with a jab. Well-timed level changes. Jack Shaw's just fighting his fight. And Jack Shaw's type of fighting isn't super impressive, you know, it's not like an Israel Adesanya, it's not like a Cyril Gane. But looking at just the fundamentals, looking at like day one basics, Jack Shaw has got that nailed completely. And that's why I think this one's going to be quite a difficult matchup for Timur Valiev. It's going to be a difficult matchup for both guys, obviously. But yeah, man, I'm going to side with Jack Shaw purely because if the fight goes to the mat, I think he's got better jiu-jitsu than Timur Valiev. And if the matchup's on the feet, despite Timur having more techniques to offer, like more variety, despite that, I think Jack Shaw's going to land that jab. He's going to land the 1-2s. The calf kicks are going to be nice. And even if he's losing that striking battle a little bit, you know, he's going to take the fight to the mat. So yeah, my prediction, Jack Shaw all day against Timur Valiev. Now looking at the betting line, guys, you've got Jack Shaw plus 120. They've got him as an underdog. I think you've got to do it, man. Straight up. I think you've got to do it. Alright, my homies, you know what time it is, man. And if you don't know what time it is, you best get to know. If you don't know, now you know. If you waited to smoke with me, amen. If you've been smoking this whole time, double amen. If you're not a smoker but you enjoy the smoke breaks, that's a triple amen, gang. Let's go. Hey, I hope you guys are doing well, doing blessed. Make sure you drop down the strain you're smoking on. You know, if you're smoking on some high organic strain, drop that down below. Alright, my homies, the smoke break question on this smoke break. I think this question is going to make some people some money, so we're going to ask this one. If you had to pick a 2-fight parlay on this card, your favourite 2-fight parlay to cash, who would that be? Drop that in the comment section below. And if you see other people in the comment section posting 2-fight parlays, be sure to like their comments, the ones you like, because ultimately one of those comments is going to be the top comment with like 20, 30, 40 likes. And that might be the best 2-fight parlay. You know what I'm saying? Smoking on that Makwan. Let's go. Alright, my homies, like I said at the start of this UFC card, and I said it at the start of the last one too, I'm kinda in this yo-yo consistency. You know what I'm saying? Win, loss, win, loss. Now last week, I was supposed to win, and I did. So this week, I'm supposed to lose, but I don't think that's gonna happen, G. I really think I'm going to win this one. You know, like I said at the start of the breakdown, 150th UFC breakdown on this channel. A nice milestone. And it's a UFC London card. I'm English. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to win this card. Alright, my homies, appreciate all of you. Let's get into breaking down this main card. Let's go. Moving into a matchup between Nikita Krylov taking on Paul Craig. Man, anytime you've got a Paul Craig matchup, I really think you have to analyze it. You know, you've got to analyze it, man, because this man, Paul Craig will defy the odds. You look at what he done to Jamal Hill, you know, with the spaghetti arm. Yeah, the spaghetti arm. Oh my God. Man, it's hilarious going back and watching tape, because even Paul Felder was like, yeah, when the arm starts wobbling around and starts flapping around like that, you should probably stop the fight.
That thing dangling around and flopping all over the place, I think it's time to stop the fight.
Yeah, that's a good call. I do agree with that, Paul. Good call. Anyone who's watching these matchups week in, week out, you pretty much know what you've got here with Paul Craig. He's not a good striker. He's not a striker at all. I do remember one time he looked like a Muay Thai fighter against Shogun Rua. You know, he was using like a Muay Thai stance, which was kind of funny. But yeah, Paul Craig, this guy's a jiu-jitsu player, he's a grappler, and he knows that too. We know that, you know, we know what he's trying to do to Nikita Krylov. Now on the flip side, Nikita Krylov has more experience, arguably better wrestling. He's a much better striker than Paul Craig. You know, the only way he's going to lose to Paul Craig is, you know, making a mistake and then you get the spaghetti arm, or you go to sleep, you know, you take a little nap. Yeah, in my opinion, guys, I think Paul Craig is like a wild card. I would assume most of you agree with that. You know, this guy's a wild card. Sometimes you bet on that wild card, sometimes you don't. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. For me personally, I'm never going to take the wild card on Paul Craig. At least not against Nikita Krylov, or even against Magomed or Jamal Hill. I'm not going to pick Paul Craig to win these matchups. You know, I'd rather go against him and be amazed if he can pull it off. So yeah, my prediction on this one, I'm going to take Nikita Krylov. If he doesn't make a mistake, end up on the mat, he's probably going to win the fight. Alright, looking at the odds on this one, you've got Paul Craig plus 150. Man, you know people are going to hit that. You know, he's a wild card. It can happen. I hope it doesn't happen. But at the same time, you know, I'm from the UK. Paul Craig's from the UK. I'm probably not going to bet this matchup. I shouldn't bet on Nikita Krylov. But then again, you know, I am a degenerate. I might do it. Alright guys, you got a matchup between Shamil Abdurakhimov taking on Sergei Pavlovich. You know what guys, I'm going to be a little bit harsh on this one. Shamil Abdurakhimov, I don't think you're going to win another UFC fight. I think Shamil's days of picking up some wins at the highest level, I think those days are gone. You know, this man's 40 years old. He's a wrestler, right? So if he can wrestle a little bit, maybe he does well. But guys, at the same time, Sergei Pavlovich is a Greco-Roman wrestler. You know, some people are going to go back, look at the highlights, see that he's knocking people out. They're going to see that. But if you look at his foundation, you know, it's going to be Greco-Roman wrestling. Now, for anyone that doesn't know the difference with Greco-Roman, it's like a upper body, you know, you're getting like the body lock takedowns and all that kind of stuff. That's what Sergei Pavlovich is really good at doing. So if Shamil Abdurakhimov wants to take Sergei to the mat, you know, look for the legs. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think if this matchup stays striking, which it probably does because Sergei Pavlovich chooses to do that, I think Shamil Abdurakhimov is going to Shadow City. I really do. So yeah guys, my prediction's going to be Sergei Pavlovich to completely dust Shamil Abdurakhimov. Now looking at the betting line, you've got Sergei Pavlovich minus 300. To be honest man, I kind of agree. I think the only way Shamil's going to win this matchup, if he wins this matchup, it's going to be the takedown. But he's not going to get that takedown. It's going to stay on the feet. He's going to get dusted. Alright my homies, moving into a matchup between Gunnar Nelson taking on Takashi Sato. Man, it's been a while since we've seen Gunnar Nelson. You know, this guy's a really high level jiu-jitsu player. Originally he was supposed to fight Claudio Silva, which by the way guys, Gunnar Nelson wins the striking and the grappling against Claudio Silva. But now he's got a matchup against Takashi Sato, which in my opinion, this one's going to be more difficult than Claudio Silva. Now some people might think, well, Claudio Silva's got good jiu-jitsu, Takashi Sato isn't a good grappler, so how can it be more difficult? And it's for the reasons that I just said, you know, I think Gunnar Nelson wins the grappling and the striking against Claudio Silva. You know, does he win the striking against Takashi Sato? I'm going to say no. I think if Gunnar Nelson wants to win this matchup, he's got to try to do what he always tries to do, which is grapple the opponent. Now he does have that karate style on the feet. It's not going to be too effective in my opinion against Takashi Sato. So yeah, straight up on this one, you've got grappling versus striking. If Takashi Sato wins the matchup, arguably the matchup stayed striking. If Gunnar Nelson won the matchup, arguably it went to the mat and he submitted Takashi Sato. It's one or the other, you know, you just make a prediction what you think is going to happen there. Guys, I'm going to do it, man. I'm going to make that shock prediction of the week. It might not come through. It might not, but I'm going to say Takashi Sato keeps the fight standing and is able to beat Gunnar Nelson purely for those reasons. You know, he kept it striking. You know, you've got Gunnar Nelson minus 350, minus 400, and he's been away for some time. Takashi Sato has also been away, but he's been training at Sanford MMA. Predicting who you think's going to win the fight and betting on it, you know, two different things. If you want to win $100 on Gunnar Nelson, you've got to lay 350, you've got to lay 400. Yeah, win or lose, you would be better off just laying $25 on Takashi Sato because you're going to get back near 100 on that. And I'm not saying, you know, go and bet every plus 250, every plus 300. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying in this particular matchup, that's what I'm saying. I kind of think the bookies have the psych line. You know, they're trying to psych you on Gunnar Nelson. But like I say, you've got Takashi Sato training at Sanford MMA. He's a good striker. He might keep it standing. He might shock some people. And that's why I'm going to make that prediction. Alright, my homies, moving into a matchup between Paddy Pimblett taking on Rodrigo Vargas. Man, whether you like Paddy Pimblett or not, he is the new cash cow. A lot of people counted him out in his UFC debut. Yeah, I said he'd win that one, and he did. Eventually, right? Eventually he won that matchup. Luigi Vendramini caught him with one of the cleanest shots you will ever see in your life. And somehow Paddy Pimblett survives that. Goes on to dust, completely dust Luigi Vendramini. Guys, I'm gonna have to try show you my my Scouse accent, right? With the post-fight interview with Michael Bisping, he's all like, "Hey, we're Scousers, we don't get knocked out."
I'm a Scouser. We don't get knocked out.
Yeah, Paddy Pimblett, man, this guy's a grappler. He is primarily a grappler, but he's got a chin and he can dust you a little bit on the feet. Now, the opponent, Rodrigo Vargas, guys, if I had to try give him like a chance to win this matchup, it has to be round 1. He's just got to throw some bombs, you know, try to knock out Paddy Pimblett. Because if this matchup leaves round 1, which I think it probably will, Rodrigo's going to slow down, and that's where, you know, Paddy's going to choke him out. He's going to submit him. And let's say I'm wrong with the submission, right? If I'm wrong with that, it's going to be a TKO. And if I'm wrong with that, it's going to be a decision. Paddy Pimblett is going to win this matchup. I'm very, very sure. Man, I just kind of pray to the MMA gods now because I don't want no Jim Miller situation. No Jim Miller situation happening again anytime soon. All right, guys, co-main event, you've got Arnold Allen taking on Dan Hooker. Now, one of my good friends, I know you're going to be listening to this, Jay, and I know you're ready for me to make the prediction that Arnold Allen's going to win the fight. One of my good friends, Jay, he's from New Zealand, and yeah, big fans of like Israel Adesanya, Dan Hooker, Brad Riddell, all of those boys, you know. Arnold Allen's my boy, right? I've trained at BKK Fighters, which is the gym that Arnold Allen came up at. And let me tell you, man, this guy puts in the work. You know, even if there's not any training happening, you know, he's just shadow boxing all the time. You know, Arnie was teaching me a couple takedowns, man, and the strength, I'm telling you, man, this guy can wrestle. Before Arnold Allen even got into mixed martial arts, he already had that boxing base. And this is why Arnold is one of the best UFC fighters in the game. You know, the boxing, the wrestling, the cardio, the IQ, all of it together. You get a guy that's 8-0 in the UFC, you know, at the highest level, undefeated at the highest level. Now, of course, guys, you look at a guy like Dan Hooker, who's fought guys like Edson Barboza, Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler, Islam Makhachev, Nasrat, Paul Felder. You know, Dan Hooker's fought these guys, and Dan Hooker's had some really sick knockouts. You know, we know the knee up the middle. Yeah, the knee up the middle can kill anyone. I know a lot of people are going to say I'm biased on this prediction, and maybe I am biased on this prediction, but even before I knew Arnold Allen, even before I've trained with him, I was picking him every single UFC fight. You know, I remember my first UFC event, which was back in, must have been 2016 now. Yeah, early 2017. He was fighting Makwan Amirkhani, and I was at this event. I had no clue who these guys were, and I see Arnold Allen was like a plus 100 underdog, and there was two guys sitting behind me, and they was like, oh yeah, Makwan's gonna wrestle this guy, Makwan's gonna wrestle. And man, Arnold Allen showed up. This is a great co-main event. I think Dan Hooker obviously has the skill set to beat Arnold Allen, but on the flip side, Arnold Allen is super intelligent. He's got better boxing than Dan Hooker, in my opinion. He's got better wrestling than Dan Hooker, in my opinion. And I think he's arguably making better choices inside the octagon. So fight IQ, again, better than Dan Hooker. Yeah, that's got to be the prediction. I'm going to take Arnold Allen to go 9-0 inside the UFC, to still be undefeated at the highest level. Alright, my homies, main event, we've got Alexander Volkov taking on Tom Aspinall. Now, if I'm going to make a prediction on paper, if I'm going to look at the paper, you know, the credentials of both guys, how many fights they've had, who they've fought, if I'm going to make a prediction based on all of this, then all day my prediction is going to be Alexander Volkov. Now, instead of making a prediction based on what the paper says, which is never like the right thing to do, it's not a bad thing to do, obviously, but it's not the best way to make predictions, in my opinion. Because again, you know, you could go back and look at Edson Barboza against Bryce Mitchell. On paper, you know, Edson Barboza completely obliterates him. But inside the octagon, what you saw was Bryce Mitchell drop him, and he controlled him on the mat. You know, he won every aspect of the fight. Now, with Alexander Volkov, you know, he's got some good boxing. He's got some good teeps to the body. But when you look at Tom Aspinall, the boxing's quicker. So yeah, Tom Aspinall as a boxer, really good. As a Muay Thai fighter, kicks, elbows, knees, really good. The striking skill set of Tom Aspinall is a problem. Now guys, when you look at the grappling, when you look at the grappling of this fight, I think again, man, the pick has to be Tom Aspinall with the grappling. Again, you know, you can go back and watch against Andrei Arlovski, you can watch against Alan Bordeaux. When Tom Aspinall wants to mix it up, take it to the mat, he can do it. You know, he's been doing that. And that's primarily because Tom Aspinall is a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's been doing jiu-jitsu since he was a kid. You know, Tom Aspinall is literally built for this. You know, he's a brilliant boxer, a brilliant kicker, a brilliant grappler. I've made this comparison a couple times and some people might laugh at the comparison, but the way I see Tom Aspinall is like an English version of Cyril Gane. And you might laugh a little bit because, you know, Cyril Gane is a top guy, but I think Tom Aspinall is also a top guy. He hasn't got as many kicks like Cyril Gane, but Tom Aspinall, if you look at the kicks, they're more powerful. You know, there's not as many, but he can smack you with them. Now guys, I am speaking a lot about Tom Aspinall, so let's speak a little bit about how Volkov does win this matchup. You know, if Volkov's gonna win, how does he do it? Yeah, I think if Alexander Volkov wins this matchup, I kind of think it goes longer than 10 minutes. You know, Tom Aspinall doesn't have as much experience as Alexander Volkov, so maybe he gets a little bit tired in a main event. But guys, I'm not going to make that prediction. I'm going to predict Tom Aspinall wins this matchup. I think he's going to kick the legs of Alexander Volkov. I think if the fight goes to the clinch, Tom Aspinall's got nasty knees, nasty elbows that could finish the fight. I think Tom Aspinall also has good boxing where he could finish the fight. I think he's got good grappling where he could finish the fight. There's so many ways that Tom Aspinall can hurt Alexander Volkov early in this fight, round 1, round 2. You know, I'm going to take Tom Aspinall to win this matchup. I know the opponent is a really good opponent. I think you're going to find out just how good Tom Aspinall really is. So yeah, that's going to be my prediction. I'm going to take Tom Aspinall to beat the veteran Alexander Volkov. Alright my homies, drop down your main event, your co-main event, your parlays, your underdogs, all of that good stuff. Drop it in the comment section below. Keep your eyes to the sky and never glued to your shoes. Mac Miller. Alright, peace.